Such as it is, that is a deer. Alright, cryptids, what is going on? It is me, Mississippi Gonzo Grunch, aka Breadcorn. Today we're going to be looking at a Declasse Tampa as a part of the review collection. So this is going to be all Tampa plus variations and so forth. So that means you'll be seeing this Tampa, the newly released GT, which I did do a review on that, but I decided, I was going to go review it again. Why not? The Drift Tampa and the Weaponized Tampa. Now, I already have the Drift Tampa made. I've had it made since 2024. So I said, you know what, I better get around to actually doing some reviews again. But, such as it is. Now, I did review this years ago, and it was surprisingly a good off-road muscle car. It's also very good to, slide around in the dirt. But, still, for those of y'all wondering, it is based off of a Dodge Dart from the 70s. I did not mean to go up that way. That was my mistake. Yeah, this one's actually based off of the Dodge Darts and that sort of lineup from the 70s. But it also does kind of have some Mustang influences in it. It's got some Ford Mustang in it. That's Rockstar for you. They'll take two different cars and make it into one. Like, people got mad at me for pointing that out. Especially on this one car. I used to do this thing called car battles, which I've thought about doing again, but I don't know. It does have torque, I'll say that. It's actually a very fun dirt road bomber, I'll just say that. Super fun to throw around on dirt. But, such as it is. Well, most muscle cars in this game are super easy to throw around on dirt. But such as it is. But yeah, it's been quite a while since, well, there's 4 Tampas in the game. I have the Weaponized Tampa, but then again, I kind of always wanted one for review purposes. However, I have yet to take one in a public session, but, I've heard they're not that great in terms of, explosive damage. Which is a shame, because you think Rockstar would actually fix that. I mean, if the car's armor plated, surely it can withstand a sticky bomb. Yeah, it has been a while since I've actually went and, tried to trick... ever since I've tried to trick oppressors into following me. I need to do that again. That was fun. The Wall of Doom. Let's see how well this goes over. I'm probably just going to throw it up this way. Nah, I need to get a different run at it. There she goes. There she goes. Alright, back it up nice and gently. This is actually going to be a fun one to get across. Well, I thought I could, though, but I guess not. Well, alright. At first you don't succeed. Sometimes you just gotta Dukes of Hazzard it. Sometimes you just gotta wonder, what would the bandit do? What'd he do this? That's exactly what the bandit would do. Sometimes you just gotta, pull a Burt Reynolds. Pull a Bo Duke. Whatever you want to call it. But yeah, ride height tends to be the real killer back there. But for most vehicles, it can handle the Wall of Doom just fine. Such as it is. Right through the deep water. And it still holds its traction. I'll just say this. Whenever this came out during a Christmas update, well, the festive surprise of 2015, I was very excited to see it come back because this is actually the one from GTA 4. Of course, I had one in 4 that looked just like this one. But, you know, such as it is. But, yeah, and, you know, it does stick to the dirt. It slides around on dirt just fine, too, as you can tell. Look at that. It's magic. It's very magical to see these cars slide around on dirt. There's always why is there always a Ranger Smith hiding around here? Well, I don't know. I'm just going to go back this way because this is a review of some sort. Well, that's hitting a boulder, but that's beside the point. There's still a bunch of stuff I need to go review. But these things happen. You know, such as it is. Nice and easy up the hill. But yeah, this is actually one of the more fun vehicles, you know, just to throw around on dirt and just book it. But I'm going to stop it right up here somewhere because this is a collection review and I don't review these vehicles for that long. So where will we stop you at? Ah, here's good. Alright. So, still not half bad. Not half bad. Not as half bad as I remember it. But other than that, we're going to go ahead and jump into the next Tampa, which is the Drift Tampa. So, here you go. I've had one in online for several years, back on the PS4, back when it first came out, and I originally used it as a rally car. But a lot of people were upset because you couldn't drift it. Understandable. But, you know, you can drift them now. You can add in the drift tuning and all that. But I do believe it is all-wheel drive, just like what the car is based off of, which this one's actually based off the Unicorn, which is funny because the whole car is basically a Mustang Demon cross. Them old Dodge Darts, them Dodge Demons from back in the day. Yeah. So it is somewhat of a Mopar vehicle. With a little bit of Ford and, well, just with a little bit of Ford influence. But then again, you know, the Tampa has been in GTA for years. If you remember the original Tampa, it was a Corvair. That's like the original Buccaneer, which that one actually might come into the game. That one was originally a Monte Carlo, which I still want to see more Monte Carlo type vehicles in this game. But yeah, I have reviewed this vehicle before and I do know its weaknesses, such as deep water. Because, hey, that's kind of the long shot, but I really don't want to, you know, be doing this review for very long periods of time. But yeah. Of course, I do like it that they added more liveries to it. But there's still something missing. You know, maybe some more body customization would be nice instead of making, you know, unlike the Jester RR wide body, which that was a disaster from the get-go. That's just something you could have added on instead of making over a $2 million car and having lackluster customization. And it will not climb that. Or can it? Yeah, there it is. That's the all-wheel drive. Yeah, but I'm going to go up this way and avoid it. I'm not really sure why it's lagging out. But this is a sports car, not a muscle car, so you can't pop wheelies with it. And it's all-wheel drive, so of course you're not going to pop wheelies with it. That'd be ridiculous. But yeah, I mostly use this as my rally car. because nobody at the time could drive on dirt, and I really wanted a sports car that nobody would have ever suspected, and this one was just catching a whole lot of unnecessary hate. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go use it and see if I can win races with it. Well, surely enough, I did, but some of these new cars now, I don't think this car could really stand a chance. But, however, I am experimenting with drifting, so I'll probably be making some drift movies coming up. So there is that. But, yes, it does absolutely climb. And it is very nimble to throw around. I mean, this car is so easy to throw around, it ain't even funny. But that's just how, you know, I mean, this car is just so easy to slide around on dirt. It's absolutely fun. And don't do what I just did. Even though I stuck that landing. But yeah, this one will actually stick to dirt, but you know, you do have to watch it. You can slide around on dirt with this thing too. Little technique I call throttle feathering. For those of you wondering what's a throttle the feathering, well, that's when whenever you go into the turn and you start feathering the gas. See, now watch. And it ain't like that. That's just me crashing into rocks. But you get the idea. A little bit of Doc Hudson knowledge for today. Want to be a better racer in this game? Learn how to drive on dirt. Now, the OG Tampa, the original, that one will be in the center. Which is actually going to be the next video coming up. But this one, I started with this one first because it's by far my favorite. You know, who knows, maybe they'll add more customization to it. Because we all know this is the Hoonicorn by Ken Block. And the final one will actually be the Weaponized Tampa, because I'm still trying to get that one unlocked. Well, the trade price. I want that one's trade price unlocked, because why not? And plus that, I kind of want a Weaponized Tampa, because I got to playing around with one fairly recent. And, yeah. It'd be nice if it was a little bit more bomb resistant. Imagine that. Rockstar makes that one have a missile lock jammer. But then again, you know, plenty of other cars absolutely have it. You know, who knows? Maybe who knows? Maybe this summer we'll see a little bit more, you know, car customization come out. Salvage yard earnings, yes. Salvage yard and the nightclub, 250,000. That's just from passive income. So that's really 500. That's really 500 G's in a day. 500 G's if you let it, you know, fill up all the way. You know, compared to the 70 that the nightclub used to bring in, hey, it's a big improvement. And then you have all the auto shop stuff, which I absolutely enjoy doing. That's how I made most of my money, was, you know, double RP, double money on all the auto shop robberies. Was great. That's the other thing, too. This thing has such responsive brakes and an acceleration to match. But in this day and age, I think this is more of a drift car. You buy this just for drifting, and plus that, you want to be Ken Block. As for me, I got plenty of plans to do with it. Alright, so here we are with the Weaponized Tampa, as you can tell. Yeah, pretty much it is just the regular Tampa, but with armor plating and all the gadgets you can imagine. You know, I've never taken this vehicle in a public session, I'll just say that. But I have heard that, you know, the damage, it's got some explosive resistance, but it's not that great. You know, you think as armor plated as this would be, it would withstand quite a few explosives, but it doesn't. And I will say this thing is heavy. It is heavy, it is heavy, it is heavy. And when it gets up to speed, buddy, you better not stop. You better not have to take any curves, because if so, well, that's all she wrote. But it is actually quite quicker than the normal Tampa. I say quite quicker. Please don't do that. Okay, mistakes do happen on this channel. You know, I do occasionally wreck stuff. That's the other thing, too. Trying to find a line. That's beside the point. Well, I'm just not going to worry about it. That's the other thing about it. This thing has no brakes. No brakes whatsoever, and I do have all weapons attachments on it. So I have the missiles, I have the rear mortar, and I have the dual minigun. You know, such as it is. And it can take on deep water. Takes on deep water quite well. I'm about to say it better. This is some Mad Max looking shit, but that's beside the point. I want to say I actually got one of these because I wanted one, but also I was going to kind of shoot a movie with it, because I want to say this one was going to be in Moonshine Fury. So there is that. I was going to say, yeah, this was definitely going to be in Moonshine Fury, which that was going to be a movie I was going to shoot with Slade and Diesel and Logan, but, you know, I'm still waiting on Slade because, you know, why not? It wouldn't be right to do a movie without him. Okay, so it doesn't climb up logs. Going uphill, but going downhill is different. Why am I hitting rabbits? Where are these rabbits coming from? Okay, so it takes on the Wall of Doom just fine. And I do tend to keep my foot on the gas in this section, as you can tell. So here we are. Nice and easy and around the way. Kind of surprising me how well it's doing off-road outside of that little mess up we had earlier. But yeah, this thing will absolutely get on dirt. That's Roscoe in it. Yeah, here's the other thing too. None of the lights work. All these lights and they don't work. But it's Rockstar. They tend to be lazy when it comes to making lights work in this game. See what I mean? This thing is heavy and it does take quite a get of used to. You'll just have to get used to how it handles, because I mean it's got quite a bit of understeer. It's got quite a bit of understeer. I'll just say that. But still, it's heavy. That heavy bumper on the front does help out. You know, granted, it's not the Arena Wars bumpers, but still, would you stop flipping and flopping all over the joint, please and thank you. And there goes a Cadillac. So it's like this. To really master this vehicle, you're going to have to get used to it. This thing will take some getting used to. You know, especially the brakes, because the brakes are terrible. It's got great acceleration. I'll just say that. It's got great acceleration, but in terms of, you know, I wonder, does this pop wheelies? Okay, yes, it actually does pop wheelies. Never mind. But, you know, it's got all these goodies on it. But, you know, still, that's beside the point. You know, the car is still... Now, that makes no sense why it doesn't have any bulletproofing on the passenger side. What design flaws is that? But then again, we can't have overly powered vehicles in this game, because that would be game-breaking. I'll tell you what I do hate. Oppressors. Now, if you're just flying around on one, you know, just not being a general menace to society, that's one thing. But if you're flying around shooting at everything that moves, you're a menace. But that's what my Hellcat's for. If y'all know about Midnight, you know what I'm talking about. But I am going to go on ahead and stop it right up here. I'm going to go ahead and stop it right up here. So, off-road wise, it actually surprised me. Alright. Okay, just to be sure we got that out the way. Okay, no rabbits. So then, now as I was saying, off-road wise, it surprises me. But, you know, still, this is one of those vehicles, if you want to buy it, you know, that's on you. I'm not forcing you to buy it. Because there's always some jackass screaming about, but you told me to buy it. No, I told you to use discernment when buying it. That's on you. But other than that, here is the final review, which is on the Tampa GT. So, let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, so I'm finally back here with the Tampa GT, which I said I was going to, you know, finish off this collection review with. So, yeah, I went, changed the rims out, changed the paint job, because I'm going to use this for a movie sometime in the future. So, I remember there was this bad guy car that it, you know, had this look, but we all know this car is based off of a, you know, it's based off of the old Cornettes from the 60s. Cornet, and looks like it's got a little bit of some other influence in it. I don't remember which. Not off the top of my head, I don't remember. But I left the suspension bone stock, and I did put on some new off-road tires because it just looks... Because I did try to look at some of the street tires with the Duke's rims on it, and it just didn't look right. But it looks good with these on it. For some reason, this is one of the few muscle cars that looks good with off-road tires. You know, such as it is. We all know it can get up certain stuff. Now, it does have a whole lot of torque. But the traction is kind of an iffy thing. But can it climb up it? Yes, I'm going to try to do this a little bit slower. Yes, it can actually climb up. And then it loses traction yet again. Which that does happen. It will lose traction here and there. And I will say this. Driving this car on dirt is a little bit... That deer's a crackhead, but anyway. Driving this on dirt, it will test you. So that's always been kind of the thing. This will actually test you in your driving skills on dirt. That's the one thing that I noticed about it. It will really test your skills on dirt. Okay, so it can take on somewhat deep water. But you know, like I said, the traction is going to be your downfall. Because it will keep traction and then it will not keep it. But other than that, if you know how to control it and, you know, feather the throttle, it will do very well on the dirt. I'd say it's probably one of my favorite Hals vehicles to drive on the dirt. Because that's been another particular vehicle class I've been collecting, is all the Hals vehicles. Because I think I got all of the drift tunable vehicles already done. There's still a few more I got to go review. Just so that way I can knock them out of the park. Excuse me. You know, I thought it would climb up over that, but I guess not. You know, it should climb over it. Okay, that was a dumbass move. Don't do that. No, it's not going to climb over that. Still, it's got decent ride height to do some off-road stuff, but... You know... Okay, so it's probably having a little issue back there. Now, if you watched my individual review on this, you know I just kind of shot my way across. Like this. That's kind of how I did it. Because, hey, I knew this car could not make it around the wall of doom. Which is true, it's not going to make it around it. But there are other, you know, walls of doom on this map. Now, I could go create a custom course to review everything because, you know, why not? But I do remember I did have a custom review course years ago, but for some reason it got deleted. Couldn't tell you what happened. Would have been nice to use it again. There she goes. Of course, it would have been nice to transfer my progress over from the PlayStation to PC. That would have been nice. But it's Rockstar. But yeah, here's the thing, what I'm about to mention to you. When it comes down to driving, it will do burnouts for days, even in like third gear. But as long as you know how to drive it, it's a really good dirt road bomber. So there is that. It is a really good dirt road bomber when you really get into it. But that's the other thing too. Throttle. Do not hold down the throttle for too long, because if you go to take, it fishtails, and all kinds of other stuff will happen. As you can tell, I'm, somewhat feathering the throttle. So yeah, there is all that sort of jive that you do have to associate with this car. All kinds of stuff you have to associate with this car, because, hey, if you mess up, well, that's going to be all she wrote. But, such as it is. But yeah, by far one of my favorite Hal's upgradable vehicles, the Hal Special Works. One of my personal favorites next to the Firebolt. There she goes. Yeah, traction just seems to be iffy on this car. But it can off-road mostly everything. It's like, get up that, you dipstick. Okay, that was my mistake. Yep, it's not going to climb up that nonsense. I'm going to go this way. Okay, I guess not. Hill climbing it does well, but then, the traction will say, forget it. It's got all the torque, but no traction. Well, it's got some traction. I mean, it would have been nice if they would have made this a drift tunable vehicle. Because there's not that many muscle cars in the drift category. I mean, we got some recently, which I ended up upgrading those. That would be the Hellfire and the Dominator, the Fox Body Dominator at that. But it is what it is. And it is raining, which will be perfect for some of my other off-road reviews. Oh, watch it, dipstick. But yes, probably one of my more personal favorite vehicles to review, because I just finally got around to finishing up some of these collection videos. Because A, why not? I was lazy, and well, for one, there were certain vehicles I couldn't find, and I had to go buy them. But I was kind of burnt out of doing GTA Online. But now that I'm back doing it and getting some little grind points in, and sliding it all over the joint like Bo Duke. But still, it's magic to see one of these cars fly low down a dirt road. It's like he's hauling moonshine. Such as it is. Such as it is. That is a deer. Yep, there she goes. I really need to practice driving down this road, because I do have a few moonshine chases that are going to be taking place down it. That's kind of why I've been driving some of the review vehicles down this way. It's like, how well is this going to look, just sending it down a dirt road? Now, that would have looked cool sliding around it. Yeah, that with this car being chased by well, what's that one vehicle? Ah, the Greenwood. Yes, the Greenwood, the old Monaco. That would actually look cool. Ooh, nice thunder. But I'm going to go ahead and stop it right down here and just get it over with. So, other than that, shoot the like button with a grip skilly if you enjoyed, and please do comment down below your favorite Tampa. I wish they would add in the one from San Andreas that looked like the Corvair, which that vehicle was a disaster from the get-go. So, other than that, Do smash the subscribe button today and click the notification bell icon to stay up to date, because I am officially live streaming again. And as always, y'all have a great day and a ballin' weekend, and remember, don't do anything stupid.